Happy Halloween, everybody. I love it. We're going to have an amazing Halloween. We're going to make a lot of candy, more candy than ever before. We're going to have better jobs, better economy, lower gas prices. You already know that by now. But if you don't have any brain cells, obviously, or common sense, you're voting for Kamala Harris. No one likes Kamala and Tampon Tim. But you already know, November 5th, vote for me. It's going to be phenomenal. And like I said, have an amazing Halloween. Make a lot of candy. Get a lot of candy, okay? It's going to be phenomenal. Be nice to people. And we're going to make this phenomenal. The best one we've ever seen in 30 years, okay? Bye.
We're just a few days out from this election. And as Donald Trump continues on the campaign trail, doing multiple events, interviews every day, talking about what he's going to do to improve the country, the Democrats are continuing to panic. They're continuing to have a complete meltdown, and they're resorting to spreading lies, which is nothing new. That's all they do. But they're spreading lies that can be quickly fact-checked. You know, they're spreading lies because they depend on people not doing their own research. And it's like we have the internet. There's clips all over the place. You could look up all of these videos, but still, CNN, MSNBC, the mainstream media, they continuously misrepresent the things that Trump says. They continuously put words in his mouth. They just come up with all types of fake nonsense. And the latest thing they're doing, I guess they think this will help them in the election. Now they're claiming that Donald Trump says that he wants Liz Cheney executed, that he wants to take out his political rivals and all of this stuff. And it's crazy because no one really watches the mainstream media anymore, right? Yet they still have a certain power over some people. Meanwhile, these events that Trump is doing, way more people are tuning into these events. So there are way more people hearing Trump's actual words as opposed to people hearing Trump's words either edited or taken out of context by the mainstream media. So for the past day or so, the mainstream media has once again been trying to whip up their followers into a frenzy, trying to make leftists freak out, spaz out, and go crazy, that Trump's going to execute people if he wins, if he becomes president. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. Well, let's go ahead and roll this clip. I want you to hear what the media is saying and how they're framing things, and then I want you to hear what Trump said out of his own mouth. And then after the clip, I'll be back with my reaction.
I don't think you even need to call it fired upon. He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
Your reaction to what Donald Trump said about Liz Cheney?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, it was completely inappropriate, dangerous, and unbecoming of a leader. Mr. Trump was literally going after someone who doesn't agree with him. So it shouldn't be a surprise when people come on TV and feel the need to agree with him.
As 9 barrels, when he says 9 barrels shooting at her, that obviously evokes images of a firing squad. It evokes images of an execution.
Let's execute a political opponent who happens to be a woman because I don't like her. And like, does that pull more low propensity voters in his coalition to the polls? I honestly don't think so.
And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person.
So what Trump was obviously saying is that Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, they're warmongers. They're war hawks. They constantly want war. They vote for war. They send our young men and women to war to die for what? And what Trump is saying is, hey, if you're someone who's so readily to send people to war, then you need to go experience war yourself. If you're so adamant about invading Iraq, if you're so adamant about putting troops on the ground in Ukraine, if you're so adamant about doing this and getting involved in all of these military conflicts, then you should have to deal with it yourself. You should be put in the same position as our soldiers, so then we could see if you change your mind. Would you be so war hungry? Would you be a warmonger if you had to fight on the front lines yourself? Would Liz Cheney be so ready and willing to send your kids to die if she had to go along with them? No. That's what Trump is saying. And I understand what he's saying. And it's funny because the people attacking Trump don't even know what they're doing. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. You're freaking sitting here protecting the establishment warmongers that want to continue to throw us further and further into military conflicts around the world. Trump doesn't want that. Trump tried to put an end to a lot of these conflicts. I don't think half the conflicts going on in the world right now would even be happening if Trump was president. And I don't think that's just a talking point. I think we saw 4 years and what 4 years looked like under Trump. And I don't remember all of this stuff going on between Israel and Iran. I don't remember, Russia invading Ukraine. There were a lot of things that happened after Biden became president. So people are getting worked up because they're believing the mainstream media's lies, when in reality, I would like to believe that most people are anti-war. You may hate Donald Trump, but at the end of the day, if you could take your hatred for him and put it to the side, you would probably agree with this. And the fact that leftists, Democrats are all of a sudden, they love Dick Cheney and they love Liz Cheney, it shows you where we've gone. When I was growing up, after 9/11, the war in Iraq and stuff, Democrats, the left, were opposed to it for the most part, from what I remember. Now, I wasn't involved in politics. I was in elementary and middle school. But I remember, from what I remember, the left was opposed to invading Iraq. They were opposed to all of this military stuff, all of these wars going on. But now it's shifted so much that the very people who demonized and hated Dick Cheney when we invaded Iraq are now praising Dick Cheney, and they love him and they love Liz Cheney. It's weird, but that's how politics has shifted. And that's why there are so many people who were neutral, people who were on the left, who are now considered far right because they've shifted politics so much. Someone such as myself, I'm not someone that you would consider really conservative or Republican. I'm just someone who I would like to believe I'm neutral, but we are in this time where the left is pushing so much wild stuff that I cannot be associated with. I want no part of it. So if you want to consider me Republican, conservative, this, that, I don't care. Consider me whatever. Just make sure you don't consider me whatever the hell is going on in the left with them diddling kids, changing genders, all of that nonsense. I don't want any part of it. And I don't want any part of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney either. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.